King Nights, Kanye West, a lot has been happening inside and outside of the Sean Combs federal courthouse as he's facing charges of sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Been quite the day. Want to bring on Law and Crime's in-court reporter, Elizabeth Milner, to answer all of your questions right now, and there are a lot. Elizabeth, it's good to see you. As you can imagine, a lot of questions about Kanye West. He showed up to that courtroom today. We know he is a friend of Sean Diddy Combs. He was even asked reportedly outside of court, is he there to support him? Yes. So let me begin with the first question we have from Danny. There might be a misconception here. So Elizabeth, set the record straight. Was Kanye in the courtroom or was he in the overflow room?
Kanye West made a surprise appearance at Sean Diddy Combs' federal sex trafficking trial in New York City, dressed entirely in white, in a clear nod to Diddy's famous white parties.
It was kind of an interesting morning. A lot of rumblings just about whether or not Kanye West was here, whether he was actually here, because there was rumors yesterday that he was here too. But yes, I can confirm that he was here at the courthouse today. Now, as far as being inside the main courtroom, no, he was not inside the main courtroom. I did not see him in there. But at first I was thinking, okay, maybe he might come into the main courtroom because they cleared the floor. They being the marshals cleared the floor. So I thought maybe it was to bring him into the room, but that didn't happen. But I did hear that he was sent to the overflow room, and maybe that wasn't where he wanted to be today. And so what ended up happening was I think he was there for maybe 15, 20 minutes and then ended up leaving. So no, he was not in the main courtroom, but I did hear he was in the overflow room for just a little bit.
Ye arrived alone, stepping out of a black Maybach to show support for his longtime friend during this high-profile and controversial trial, facing serious charges including sex trafficking, racketeering, conspiracy, and promoting prostitution.
Put your hand down. I'm not the one. I'm not the one. You're not the one. I'll box you right in the middle. Kanye West.
Over the past 2 decades, prosecutors allege Diddy orchestrated a criminal enterprise involving coercion, threats, abuse, and exploitation of women.
Step by step, what happened? An outside person brought it up. Did you talk to anybody about this particular recording of Jane? Now, she didn't say, Jane or anything like that, but did you talk to anybody? So then Jonathan was like, well, I didn't talk to anybody. Christina Coram is like, well, were you in the house? And then Christina Coram said, where were you in the house? Jonathan said, Brandon was there. He was talking about something on the iPad. Christina Coram is like, okay, well, who was all in the house? We can check the cameras in the house. Jonathan is saying, well, I was just trying to saving him as far as Diddy specifically, so that way he could delete it. And then Jonathan said he didn't talk to anybody else about it. He said that Brendan wanted to tell Rob about this, said the advice was to initially just delete this video, but then Jonathan said he didn't want to delete this video in case something were to happen and it be brought back up, that type of thing. And so Diddy initially wanted to launch an investigation. Now, we didn't hear Diddy's voice on this audio recording, nor do we think that he was kind of even around when this recording took place. So really, we were just hearing the voices of Christina Coram and Jonathan Perez in this particular tape. But Christina conveyed to Jonathan that Diddy wanted to launch this investigation and how it got onto the staff iPad. And so Jonathan believed that this video was recorded on the iPad, but then Christina asked if other people like Brandon might have told other people about this. Jonathan said that Brandon was actually freaking out about this particular explicit video. And Christina Coram was like, well, was anybody else there? Think, the housekeepers, the chef. And Jonathan said that Chef K might have been around in the theater location when the staffers were kind of talking about this particular explicit video, but that Jonathan didn't relay to Christina Coram that that Chef K was in the theater. He said he didn't want to make it a big thing. And so there were no follow-up conversations after these particular recordings were recorded, but the conversation was then brought to another person, another staffer, that being Fahim, who is Diddy's driver, as well as kind of, I think he was the head of security, that he brought it up a couple weeks later after Christina Coram brought it up. And then Jonathan said that he had told Fahim pretty much the exact same story that he told in court, also that was reported on by Christina Coram too.
Yeah, it's fascinating to hear this, and also wondering if she's not going to be called as a witness. Right now, there's no indication that she's going to be, which was a surprise to a lot of us following the case. We have a question here from Blessing Eek. Why was Diddy's son allowed to get to attend court yesterday wearing a Free Combs t-shirt? I thought that was against the court rules. Is that true from what you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and I saw this shirt myself, and we were all thinking, because I was sitting by another reporter, we were like, how is he allowed to be wearing this inside the courtroom when the jury is present? Now, I don't know if the jurors were able to see what the words were that were actually transcribed on this particular shirt, because it was like a black shirt with red letters that say Free Sean Combs, and then what Christian had over top of it was kind of this mesh top, and so I don't know if the jury was able to see those words, but what I did see was Marshall kind of go up to Christian Combs, look at his shirt, and I thought, okay, well, maybe she's going to tell him, take the shirt off, or you're going to have to change your shirt, change it inside out, similar to how Charlucci was when he was wearing his free puff shirts or free puff sweaters and hats, but that didn't happen, and so he was able to continue wearing this shirt, something that I thought was pretty surprising given just the amount of attention that is on this trial, but also because of what had happened weeks earlier when they had told another person who was wearing a free puff shirt to turn their sweatshirt inside out.
I want to go back to yesterday. We were talking earlier about how Jane apparently hugged both the defense attorney and prosecutor in this case before she left the courtroom. We got a question from Danny. Did Jane stare down Diddy when she got off the stand when she was going out there and giving hugs?
I didn't see that from my point of view, and I think even there was like a split second because everything kind of happened so fast where I like look down, then I look up, and all of a sudden I'm seeing Jane hugging Tinny Garagos, and Tinny's kind of just like sitting there a little still in that matter, but I didn't see her stare down Diddy necessarily. From what I saw for most of her testimony, she avoided eye contact with him at all times. That's why it was really surprising to see her hug his defense attorney as she was getting off the witness stand.
By the way, Elizabeth, there was some controversy at the beginning of the day regarding a juror. There was talk about whether or not this juror would even remain on the jury. What did we learn a little bit more about what the confusion was with the juror, what the issue was with the juror? We had a lot of questions, I think, during this week in our chat about it. So what happened with this juror?
Kanye was denied access to the main courtroom due to strict federal protocols, and instead watched the proceedings remotely from an overflow room, alongside Diddy's son, Christian King Combs. Ye's appearance followed explosive testimony from a key witness who described a bizarre freak-off party involving a sex worker and the wife or girlfriend of another major rap artist, sparking widespread speculation about Kanye's possible involvement. A recent federal raid on Diddy's Los Angeles mansion uncovered firearms, armor-piercing ammunition, and hundreds of bottles of personal lubricants. Supporting victim testimonies. Despite the mountain of accusations, Diddy denies all wrongdoing and vows to vigorously defend himself. Kanye's brief but highly publicized visit has fueled media attention, raising questions about loyalty and motives as the trial progresses. Prosecutors are expected to conclude their evidence soon, with the defense preparing their case. Kanye remains uninvolved officially, but his presence has become one of the trial's most talked about moments, drawing curiosity and speculation worldwide. Millions continue to follow every development, eager to see how this landmark case will unfold for Sean Diddy Combs, his accusers, and those who stand by him, including Kanye West.